Exactly.
What's up, old buds, old pals? Let me tell you something. I'm a sleepy little poo-poo head right here. There's old 12er. He doesn't sleep. I think he's got a drug problem. Something. Because he's always happy and never sleepy, so... I mean, do the math. Sounds like a drug addict to me. We've got the RanchTang back here, and y'all probably noticed a couple things. One, I got really sick, and well, everybody kind of in the shop got sick, and we didn't make it to Bristol. And we cried and cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. But we did watch the car up there, and like everyone else, it looked like we were rolling pretty good. And then boom, it just shut down. We noticed a couple things. We had radiator hose fail right here on that AN. So we're gonna have to remedy that. It's actually, the series of events sucked, but it's actually kind of for the better, because this radiator hose, in the footage that we saw, this popped pretty early, like within 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was spraying water, which was going to mean really overheated engine and probably burned up motor. And then about 25-30 seconds into the burnout, the motor just turned off. And so naturally we were really bummed about that, but we were also wondering, you know, what happened, because we didn't have any test time whenever we got the car together, like typical of doing these things. And so we've been bummed and excited to figure out what happened, because we've cranked the motor over, it sounds fine, but we've got a lot of raw fuel, heavy white smoke coming out of the pipe, and we've got an idea what we think happened. Steven's got his rail loose. This is the top side of the standpipe, and you can see it's got a little check valve in there. This is what feeds high pressure oil from the high pressure oil pump up to the oil rail. And so this little guy threads in this hole. Underneath there is another piece of pipe that Steven's got the rail draining right now, but if you pick it up out of the way, right here is the other part of that pipe. And that thing extends down through the cylinder head into the block, into the high pressure oil pump, and that's what's feeding this thing high pressure oil. We're gonna disconnect the electrical harnesses up here on the top, and we're gonna pull the injectors up and out, and we ought to know pretty quickly when we go to bust this loose if these fasteners are loose at all, or if one of them's broken, you know, that was the issue. All right, so we've got all 8 injectors out, both the oil rails off and everything, and we were looking at these, and there ain't nothing wrong with them. And all the fasteners were tight, all the O-rings look good, there's no debris in here, injectors look great, the bottom of the bores look good. Can't really tell if the cup itself is cracked or not. We looked really well with a flashlight, can't see anything. So we are going to actually reassemble some of this and do some testing that we probably should have done before we pulled it apart, but we were really certain that we knew what was wrong, but that's not always the case. So we're gonna throw all 8 injectors back in, pull the glow plugs out, because we've got excessive diesel sitting down in the cylinder anyway, so even if we wanted to crank it, we need to blow that stuff out. We're gonna crank it over for a little bit, then I'm gonna stick the compression tester in here, might as well, because we already have the glow plugs out, and we'll see, make sure every cylinder is good, and make sure we don't have a head gasket blowing between 2 cylinders or something like that. We're not thinking that's what we got, but we're gonna check it on the way, try to save some time and diagnose what's going on. So, okay, so we've got the compression tester hooked up. We are on back cylinder, passenger side. All the glow plugs are out, and we're gonna crank it, see what we got for pressure. Ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Here you go.
Okay. About 325, 330.
Okay.
Clear the tester. All right.
Let me show you where the problem lies.
What we're doing is we're looking at all the compression on all the cylinders. We've already done the driver's side. Every single one of them is about 325 to 350 psi, which is good. It's what you want. Passenger side, well, not so much. We're going to show you. So you saw that first cylinder. That one's healthy. The middle two. All right, now this cylinder is further up on this side. And go ahead. Yeah, that's about 240 psi. So a little less than 100 psi low from where it should be, but that's definitely not great. You want to check that front cylinder?
Yeah.
350, 3 and some change, to, what was it? 40. Front cylinder. Go ahead. Yeah, that was steady climbing towards 400. 350, 360 on that one. So, second cylinder back's got a problem. Third cylinder back may not have a problem, but it's not as healthy as the other two or the other four on that side. So, basically, we're to the point now where either we have a blown head gasket and it's popped between the second cylinder and it's making its way to the third cylinder, and that cylinder is losing pressure because they have a deviation between the two of them, more or less on the second cylinder than the third one, or we've got a bent rod. So, what do you think? I think it's about time to pull the cylinder head.
Yeah.
Which we just love to do.
Yeah, put it together and tear it back apart. A couple, 5, 6 times.
That's where that's at. Everything else, pressure-wise, looks good. 4 on that side, and the 2 extreme ends on this side look good. Second one from the back is a little low. Second one from the front, real low.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well,
probably have that off about what, 10 minutes?
Oh yeah, maybe less. 10 minutes of time lapse.
That's what I was about to say. Okay, so we've got to pull quite a bit of stuff off. So we're going to get the charge pipes off, the intake manifold, probably the fuel and oil filter assembly, and then exhaust manifold, head bolts, etc., etc. Fun. Big high five right here, bud.
Yeah.
This is fun. Okay. Yeah, time lapse me. Bye. All right. Well, guess what? Can you guess what?
I don't have to guess. I
Because
know
you looked at it now, right?
Yeah, I saw it.
How you feel right now?
I feel like I got a lot of work to do, and
Stuff like that.
yeah, I got a lot of work to do. And I have to hurry because
That's what you do, is you hurry.
yeah, I don't have time to do it, but I need it done.
All right, well, let's show them what it looks like. So, let me move this tool out of the way. So if you look down in here, sorry, fell down. See the cross hatching on that cylinder wall? It's got a couple of little scores, little streaks and stuff, but you can see there's cross hatching in that cylinder. You can see this one, it's got cross hatching. A little bit of scoring, but still cross hatching. This one, a little bit of scoring, still cross hatching. This piston, that's 95 psi low, right there. See all that? That's not what you want. This here. See how it's 2 different colors completely? So I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it definitely was hot in there. And we think that the ring gap
it got so hot that the ring touched, and maybe it expanded too much and it broke the ring. Maybe this is all from like fuel hydraulicking in the cylinder after it had low compression, and once it kind of started and then lost compression, the spot that deviated the greatest, or is the path of least resistance, starts to erode and drag, and there's not really enough to catch a fingernail on, but you can visually see it. And every other piston on the motor, every other cylinder has got a minimum of 300, 325 psi. Some of them are even higher, 375 I think yesterday. Which that variance of about 30 or 40 psi is not a big deal, but this one right here being 90 psi low that's certainly enough to make it white smoke and not fire like it's supposed to, because the compression ratio, a diesel engine's compression ignition, so there's no spark plug or anything inside the hole to actually light the fuel. It's all based off compression. So if you have low compression, you don't burn the fuel like you're supposed to. No. And right now it's looking like that's our problem, which sucks. I think we got about 30 seconds out of this motor.
Yeah, 27 I think to be exact of burnout time.
We know it was hot, flaming fireball hot, but I think we kind of expected it to live a little longer. We thought originally that maybe we had got aggressive with the water, but checking piston protrusion, that ain't it. It didn't bend a rod. We didn't spin a bearing. All that stuff's within a couple thousand. So the only thing that we can do is, at least, at this point, is pull the motor.
Yeah, because we can't get the pan off in the car.
Yeah, there's no room. The motor barely fits in the car when it's in the car.
Yeah.
So you're not going to pull pieces off other than the cylinder heads and the top end without getting down to the bottom end. So looks like it is time to pull the motor again. And we're going to push that piston and rod assembly out of the top, see what the rings look like, make a call at that point on...
Maybe get lucky and put rings on it, because those got throttled, or the ends, they got hot enough, the ends touched and drug, and
maybe do some like
light
super
honing or
shade tree dingleberry hone.
Yeah.
That's the hone with all the little BBs on it. It's called a dingleberry hone as far as I've ever known.
Yeah, I've got a few at the house.
Yeah, he's got a few in his pants, but they're the wrong bore size.
Yeah,
otherwise we'd already done it.
Yeah, they're more for like a 10, 11 liter Cummins.
Oh, so. That's a big dingleberry. But, well, all right. About as excited as I can be about it.
Yep. Yep.
So, we are back on RanchTang, and we are at the new shop. And we haven't even introduced you to the new shop because, well, we're not done yet. You see all the construction still happening back here. We're still putting in panel on. We've had a lot of catching up to do. When you have a couple of weeks of downtime moving a shop and you're paying on both buildings at the same time and insurance and all those kinds of things, it costs a ridiculous amount of money. And bottom line is we've been running so wild that we haven't really had time to stop and film anything. We're too busy pulling our hair out, chewing fingernails off kind of thing. Yeah, so we're gonna bring a video out soon to kind of bring everybody back up to speed on what's going on and where we've been and what we've been doing. We've also got another giant project that we've been working on outside of the stuff for Matt, outside of building the shop. Yeah, we'll talk about that more later. Super exciting. Can't wait to tell you guys about that. But you just have to take my word for it right now that we haven't just been lazy. We've been busy. So, back on the RanchTang. When we left off, we were at the old shop. So, this video, first half is at the old shop. The second half is going to be here at the new shop. And we left off with the cylinder walls on this side of the motor, kind of giving you a description of what what we had going on there. And we had cross-hatching on every other cylinder and a little bit of scoring, but second cylinder back was real foggy, like large amounts of fuel were blasted past the rings, something like that. This motor didn't get any real break-in time, like at all.
No, sir.
But even then, it's hard to do testing on a burnout car. I mean, you got to burn a set of tires off, you know, to do it, to really test the thing. We are working on buying a chassis dyno. We have been doing everything we can, saving every dollar possible, trying to do side work on the weekends to put money together so we can get another chassis dyno. We had one years ago, got rid of it, didn't make financial sense. Now we're around where we're doing a lot of test and tune stuff, above and beyond just Matt's stuff like the CUDA and the RanchTang, and so we really need one again. But it's an expensive tool. They're about $50,000, and yeah, we've been saving pennies, but it takes a whole lot of pennies to buy a dyno. So coming soon, but we don't have one yet. And so what that's done is put us all kind of in a bind about breaking in a motor and putting a real load on something to try to simulate what's happening on the road during a burnout, whatever. So yeah, this is the only other way that you can do it, is to get out there and do it and see what happens. And we've learned a whole lot along the way. And you know, sometimes it costs you money, sometimes it costs you tears, but it's certainly a lot of work to figure it out. And yeah, so we came up with the plan. We talked to Matt about the car. We talked to the guys at Warren Diesel. We all agree that we got it really, really, really hot. That's what happened. And we saw the edge of the pistons. Even with the pistons delipped, we could see spots where the pistons started to burn. So it was definitely well over 1200 degrees in the cylinder. And I think that's what happened. Lack of times to seat the rings, combined with lots of RPM and lots of heat. I think, you know, that's what led to the damage inside the cylinder. Now, as far as what killed the motor whenever it was doing a burnout, we've had a lot of opinions and brainstormed and talked to everybody and to try to just come up with the best answer. And we really think that we didn't have enough oil in the motor. It needs to be overfilled by about a gallon, according to the guys at Warren Diesel. Now, we did unshroud the oil pump. If you remember, we cut the face of the suction tube, or it's kind of like a, I don't know what you call it, freaking pants. Yeah, I mean, the pickup tube goes down to like a pancake size thing, about the size of that roll of tape, and it had a little bitty hole in it. So we unshrouded it by cutting the tin off of it, so we had a much larger hole to pick up oil. And I think it ran out of oil. We got, these are hybrid injectors. This is the largest injector you can run on a factory H-pop, and that combined with all the RPM, I feel like it ran out of oil.
100%.
Cavitated, and it drew air and killed the motor. And when we had it running over there at Matt's shop, it would only run for a little bit at a time, and I still am of the opinion that it's got air in it. So anyway, we were building high pressure oil when we were over there. I think there was air in it. So what we've done, now that I've talked way too much, what we've done is something that I don't recommend that you ever do. This is what we use, right? Dingleberry hone, ball hone, whatever you want to call it. I like dingleberry hone.
Me too.
Looks like a dingleberry hone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a flex hone. You know, it's a good tool. When used correctly and in the right situation, it's the right thing. But what we did was we cut the end of the rod down that was sticking off the end of it there, so that I could shove it down in the bore and try to hone this a little bit, because even though the cylinder might be low on compression a little bit, honing it's not going to fix that, right? We know that that's not going to fix it. But what we do want is a spot for oil to cling to the wall, and we didn't have that before. It was just purely shiny. Now you can see that we've got a tooth on it, and you can still see this is, you know, pretty shiny from where all them horse torques slid by. But we've got cross-hatching on the cylinder wall, so at least it'll hold oil. Because the bottom line is, after talking with everybody involved in this project, we're going to send it.
We are.
Because, in our opinion, in everyone's opinion at this point, now that we have semi-scarred cylinder walls across the board, all the other pistons have pretty damn good compression. It's not worth the labor to pull the motor out, take the rod off, and do the exact same thing and catch that last 1.5 inches of the bottom of the cylinder. If it's out of round, if it's burned up, if it's going to make low compression, the dingleberry hone is not going to bring that back to life, okay? It's just not. If you can feel it with your finger, you basically need to machine it. And we're not doing that. It is a burnout car. It's not our daily driver. It's not Matt's most reliable transportation. It is something that we're all learning collectively on, how to build something to shred and stay alive, diesel style. And making big power on these things creates a lot of heat. And so, this is part of it. We realize that we're going to have to figure out a way to cool the motor down, EGT wise. So we might back the tuning off a little bit. It makes more than enough power to burn the tires. And we don't want to neuter it, but we want it to live. So we're going to learn however that takes to do it. Steven's getting ready to put the cylinder head on, and we're going to spray a little bit of copper coat across the deck. A lot of people have opinions about that. Sweet. We use copper coat. We always have. It works really well. Yeah, always will. So we're going to lightly dust the deck surface of the block. Then we're going to get the cylinder head. It looks like it's pretty damn clean. It still needs a valve job. It's got cracked seats. It's got all kinds of crap. There may be a decent percentage of compression leaking out through the valve seat. At this point, it doesn't matter. We just need the thing to run and to do a burnout and to do it and live. So that's what we're going for. We've got what we've got, and we're going to work with what we've got. So anyway, that's what we're doing. All right, so we got the up pipe off this thing. Bros and brodettes. Wait till you see this crap. Let me get this in my fancy holder here. All right, you ready for this? Look at this. Dude, it melted. Like, the exhaust gas got so hot. Let me try to explain what you're seeing here. Right down here, this edge, the reason it has this weird like alien head little radius is because that's the same as this weld back here. It actually peeled where the weld was, the piece of pipe inside of this. Exhaust gas came up, got behind it, and it got so hot that it got really like malleable, if you will, and it folded up inside this deal and closed off the up pipe completely. Choked that whole side of the motor out, and that's what killed it. It's like the world's best exhaust brake. God dang, look, it was so hot it like blistered the edge of that. Dude. Let's look at it from the other side. Look at that. That was something that was like still even now. Oh, I had the camera over here all dumb. I can't believe it. I bet you $100 without that in there, this thing runs and idles. Who wants to bet? We've got the motor situation figured out. We are doing some business up here. We got one of these to replace our completely welded, freaking melted, blocked up pipe thing. Modifying some coolant flow path on that as well, and looking at a few things to try to keep this thing running cool. And we've got Zach here today. What's up, Zach?
How are you, man?
Doing good. He is pulling the rear axle out of RanchTang because we are going to go from I think it's a 373 gear to a 307 gear. And well, we don't want to do it on the ground, and we've got all kinds of stuff tied up over here on the lifts. In fact, I'm actually working on the front axle of the demo CUDA today, which I'm going to go over here and set up a camera and talk about in just a minute, show y'all what I'm doing. But in the meantime, he's getting this axle pulled out so we can set it on some jack stands. We've got a ring and pinion set that may actually be here, and we're going to get started. The plan here is to put the engine at a lower operating RPM with a higher wheel speed. So we're trying to get the tires to spin even faster to keep the engine loaded and not banging the red line where it wants to pull the wrist pins out. Oh, boom, shakalaka. Bro, these dudes right here
Are the best.
These dudes right here have got our back. Oh, we got a kit, bro.
There's the install kit.
Master install, new crush sleeve, ring gear bolts, pinion seal, shim set, some paint, some Loctite, some Timken bearings. Then we got some gear skis.
Got your knife on you?
Yeah. See the way my knife's set up? It's not in my pocket right now.
Bingo.
Steven's got a bingo.
Yep, right here.
That was actually kind of cool.
This is some of the bigger ring gear we've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody hold on. Got a big ring gear in town. All right, so we got the RanchTang going again. As per usual, kind of down to the wire because, well, we put the intake manifold on and we forgot the O-ring donut that goes underneath the front, off the front timing case.
Yes, we did.
There's looks like a little rubber donut, and it sits right there, right in there. And without it, it just puts water right on the ground.
Yeah.
Lots of it.
All of it.
So we had the motor together. We had to pull that back apart. We were chasing a couple other little demons on this thing, but we finally got, well, we've got it to the point where it's running again. And I think that, well, one of two things. Either the motor is wounded, which it definitely is a little bit,
Definitely is.
and the cylinder heads are junk, which we know they're definitely not good.
Yeah, they got 1,000 cracks.
Cracks all through the seats. And then we have rings on the pistons they've never even seated,
No.
like at all. I think there's one cylinder that has perfect compression. That would be the one cylinder that got hot enough and was ready to go. There's one piston ready to go racing, ready to go burning out. And
It's got to drag the other 7 with it.
yeah, so we did just finish putting gears in the back of it. We went from a 373 to a 307.
Yep, 308, I think.
And we did film that, but putting the rest of this together, we didn't film it. We've been in a rush. I know it's the same old song and dance, but we had a lot of stuff going on, and we still battled through a bunch of stuff. We had all the stuff we needed here to do this, and we still battled through a lot of it to get it done. But it's running.
It's
right?
running, and it's going to Florida.
And it doesn't sound bad. Fire it up, Steven.
Yeah, it sounds
Check it out.
really good.
0 mile 6.7. Got a little air in it still.
but it's got 8 pistons in it, and a crankshaft and a block, and a turbo. So it ought to be all right. Matt's gonna take it to his house, do a couple burnouts in it before we load it in the trailer, and I'll ask Florida to come see all y'all folks. For some reason, it's still not charging. So I think we're gonna bag up an alternator and take one with us, throw it in the trailer with the dude who's hauling it. Door could use a little work, I think, maybe. There it is. Close it about 5 or 6 times, it'll shut on one of them. But yeah, it's running. If we can just make it through this event, we're gonna do some big changes to this car. We're basically gonna rip the whole front end off of this thing, all this up here, because we need to make room. We need about twice the radiator.
4 times the intercooler.
About 4 times the intercooler. We could probably start with that. Be pretty good shape. But it requires an extensive amount of work on the front of this thing to make more room. There's just not any room. You can try to make stuff fit, and it's a lot. So we're gonna well, that's what we're gonna do next time. That's what we're gonna do. So we're coaching Matt. We're telling Matt, hey, don't go full dumb, Matt. You know what I mean?
Please, Matt.
Not 5th gear, 5,000 RPM. I mean, eventually.
Yeah.
But we're trying to work it up, keeping the EGTs in check, so that we still have an engine whenever Matt gets back.
What? The problem with Matt is
He's going full send.
he gets happy foot syndrome,
He does.
and the right foot stays locked into the full throttle position until something stops, brakes. I think that's basically the only time it stops.
Yeah, pow! Wow, that thing's broken.
All I did was hold on the floorboard.
It is, Matt. It's thoroughly on fire, and all the parts are on the ground. You did a good job. High five. But anyway, Matt's on his way over here. We're gonna get the car loaded up. We're gonna take some tools and some extra parts and stuff, and then we're leaving out. We're leaving Friday.
Yep.
Leaving Friday morning. We'll see y'all out there in Florida. Hoping to make a good showing. Hoping the car makes it through this next round of abuse, and we can move on to the next level of making this thing even more, well, I guess more prepared for more abuse. So we've learned a lot along the way, and I feel like we're in a good position. As long as this motor makes it through this time, we'll be able to do the stuff that we want to do. We're going to have to get a custom radiator and intercooler made, make it ourselves, get Brandon involved, something to that effect, and make it happen. So that's about it for now, guys. We're gonna got a couple days left here this week, and then
We're going to see y'all in Florida.
we're gonna get on a plane and fly out there and see you. So y'all come check us out. Please Some Cars Florida coming up. See ya.
Bye-bye.